Ep.5. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, child, let's get into it if we're going to get into it. When the episode first opens up, Letitia is going to meet with Marie for a spa day. Child, here comes Marie. Hello, Marie. Marie. Now, I let you slide last week, but what is this white utility van you keep sporting everywhere you go? Because you got out of that van last week and I ain't say nothing about it. I was like, well, you know what? Sometimes the rental car places don't be having the rental cars, honey. Maybe she needed a car and they didn't have the car she needed, so white van it is. But then I saw you sashaying up there in your blonde wig and I see that same utility van in the distance. Marie, I'm not playing with you, girl. So they're going to do a yoni steam. And Maria's like, I've been celibate for a year. You gonna bring me over here, girl? Why you bringing me here? So Letitia was like, well, I think it's important for every Southern belle to get her lady parts steamed. While Letitia up there sounding like Phaedra Parks, everybody knows a true Southern belle steams her lady parts. Yeah, I remember when Phaedra used to act like the prim and proper Southern belle. Honey, turned out to be a whole city girl. Moving forward. Oh, side note, Letitia, girl, I like this hair. Okay, get into it. So while she's steaming the gland out of her vagina, Marie is going to ecstasy. I'm like, okay, this is just too much for me. Ma'am, please pipe down. You might need the home kit because you know they got them home yoni kits you could take to the house. I think Marie might need that. I was like, girl, ugh. So then Marie starts talking about her rebirth party. And she said, you know, I want to invite my friends, my close family, you know, just everybody. So Letitia was like, well, yeah, you know, in her confessional, I'm happy to even go. I am happy for her, even though she won't attend my brunches. Letitia, her not attending those brunches, that is not a bad thing. I don't know why you think it is, but it is not. So she's telling Marie Glenn is trying to win her back. He's selling her pipe dream. She was like, you know, being at my mom's house is the most uncomfortable, peaceful thing that I've ever done. But I miss my family, but I just can't, you know, allow him to play me like that no more. She was like, I don't know if he's sincere. And ain't. Child, he just wants his desired result. He's definitely not remorseful, honey, and he ain't fooling me. So then she asked Marie about Cedric and her going to Disney and if they share the same room or whatever. And she was just like, well, listen, I love Cedric, but he's a serial cheater. Every time I hear Marie talk about Cedric cheating, y'all, it literally kills me because Cedric don't want nothing Marie can offer. If you know, you know. Allegedly. Child, he don't want nothing to do with Marie, honey, and she ain't fooling me, and he ain't fooling me, and they ain't fooling me. Moving forward. So she basically was like, I left because, you know, I couldn't take it no more. She was, you know, she said, I was an entrepreneur and have been an entrepreneur. And when Cedric was traveling, going here, there, and everywhere, I was building, you know, a legacy for us. And I just feel like that's how I lost my husband. You know what kills me? Why is it us as women always blame ourselves when we reach a certain amount of success? You know, oh, I'm not being the best mom I can be, or I'm not being the best wife I can be. We guilt trip ourselves into oblivion. But men, they can just do whatever. Honey, miss birthdays, miss ballet recitals, miss baseball practice. And it's like, he's the provider. No. We have to start taking back our power, child. Listen, I could do a whole video on that. It is okay for you to want to achieve your dreams and still be that mom and that wife. That is okay. Girl, you did not lose him because you were building an empire. You lost him because Cedric can't be trusted. Child, anywho. So she was like, you know, I feel like when he was in front of me, he treated me like royalty. But in my absence, he was hooking up with call girls. Ew. Not he was hooking and crooking. Oh, hell no. Baby, leave Cedric and his questionable test results right where they are, honey. That is disgusting. So then the lady comes in to replace the hot water that they've been steaming and whatnots with. And so Letitia was like, has anybody ever had an orgasm before on these things? She was like, no. Because in her mind, she thinking to herself, girl, that's nasty. And then Marie was like, well, I might be your first. Child, that thing that sensitive. Girl, you're going to have to get you some, honey, if you just sitting on a steam with herbs and natural juices and berries and all of a sudden, girl, okay, you need to get yourself together. In the next scene, Tambria goes to visit her family using her normal octave. I said, oh, okay, so when she around her mama and daddy, she's not, Tambria, sure. Oh, child. She's using her normal voice and whatnot. So then Demond shows up and he's meeting her there so they can, keep the family in the loop. So after he arrives, Tambria tells them that they're trying for a baby and they want to do IUI. And her mom was like, what is that? She was like, well, that's something I may have to do because of my scar tissue, after having her fibroids removed. So her mom was asking her if they move forward, does that involve marriage? Well, Mom, listen, I know y'all like Greedy, honey, because that's what they call him over there in the Mississippi. I know y'all like him. But the thing is, he has had 42 years, 74 hours, 62 days, and 45 seconds to propose to Tambria Cherie. So what is taking him so long? That's because he can't be trusted. And y'all, we're going to get into that as we get into it. Anywho, so he was like, yeah, we got to do it the right way. So her dad is telling them, just put God first, even before the marriage, and everything going to work itself out. And I have to say, I do love seeing her parents together. I liked seeing them together last season. That was my favorite season with Tambria. She was like less loud and less obnoxious. I just like the scenes with her and her family because she's normal. Okay, that's why I like them. But anyway, them being together for 52 years, baby, that is admirable. Okay, do you hear me? I couldn't last 52 seconds. Honey, we're not lasting 52 minutes. It just ain't working. But it seems like she comes from a good family, so I can understand her wanting to mimic what she saw growing up. So he was like, in his confessional, Demond, that is, he wasn't raised with his dad, so he really appreciates the relationship that he has with hers. So Tambria in the confessional was just saying, that her parents did it the right way. They were married in college, and no matter how old she is, she wants to make them proud. Now listen, Tambria, I'm speaking directly to you, honey. I understand wanting to be married first. I did it that way as well, because I wanted to make my parents proud, honey. I went to college, I graduated, got the man, got the marriage, got the baby. Okay? But my biggest piece of advice to you, okay, which I wish someone would have told me, is to make sure that the person you choose to have kids with will make your future kids proud. And what I mean by that is, baby, we got to be very selective with whom we procreate. Okay, you got to make sure that that man is what that man should be. And sometimes it's no foolproof way to make sure that he gonna be what he should be, honey. But at least make sure it's a person you wouldn't mind stomaching for 18 years, child. I'm just telling you, honey, from experience, child. In case that thing don't work out, you want to make sure that when you exchange at the local McDonald's, that you don't want to hit him in the head with a Happy Meal, child. Moving forward. So her parents basically support them. And so Tambria tells us that her grandmother passed away. She didn't tell her that she was having surgery because she didn't want her to worry about her, right? And she said, I was FaceTiming her. I was on the phone with her. And while I was recovering from surgery, she passed away. And she feels guilty behind it because she doesn't feel like she was there for her grandmother when she needed her. And girl, do not feel guilty. There's no way that you can know or predict the minute or the hour of somebody's demise. Like, she knows that you loved her. And I'm sure she knows that you would have definitely been there for her if you could have. That's just sad. And y'all know how I feel about my grandma, child. Oh, I hate scenes with the grandmas because, honey, it make my nervous system bad. In the next scene, Marie J. Blige is meeting with Essie. They need to discuss the methadone clinic locations. So they're sitting down and they're meeting, right? So Marie is telling her that, Cedric was helping her scout some locations in Mississippi. And, they're just trying to move forward as a family and, co-parent and whatnot. Baby, Essie said, Cedric needs to stay far away from Marie because he's toxic. Baby, now y'all know Essie don't play by no Marie. So she's like, speaking of moving forward, I did something behind your back. So Marie is like, what did you do? She said, I met with Latrice. She said, listen, you'll be glad to know that she did somewhat own it because I know that was your biggest thing. It's her owning what she did, and she did own what she did. And Marie is like, what? All this time she flipping her hair, acting like she ain't did nothing, and now she want to own it? Marie, she owned it. Okay? Baby steps. Baby steps. So Essie was like, yeah, I don't even want to speak on it again. She doesn't want to speak on it again. And Marie was like, cool, we don't have to, speak on it again because I feel like this is a season of new beginnings and, for me to move forward and be born again. So Marie was basically just saying that even though she did own part of it, she still don't trust her like that. So then Essie drops the bomb that she invited Latrice to her rebirth party. Oh, Lord. Essie is with the mess. Essie, girl, let's see how this gonna go. So Marie was like, oh, honey, you're really trying it, honey. She was like, yeah, I just invited her. I feel like we can move forward. But Marie was like, you know what? The past is the past. We can move forward. I think things gonna be fine. It's fine. I'm glad that they are trying to move past this, honey, because it was getting on my nerves. I guess it's okay because it's her event. So if in the event of some mess, honey, it's her party and she can cry if she want to. Moving forward. In the next scene, Tambria goes to Akeisha's house because she missed her baby's birthday party, right? So as soon as she opens the door, Akeisha's baby starts crying. So in the confessional, Kiki was like, Holly was just screaming and yelling because Tambria laughs like, and it's really loud and it really upsets the baby. Oh, child. Even the baby nervous about the voice, honey. So after the baby calmed her nerves, they started talking. And she's like, I'm pissed. You didn't come and none of the other girls came either. Ma'am, you don't even like them for real. And they don't like you. So therefore, and thus and such, well, why would they come to your baby's birthday party? So in the confessional, Tambria was like, I'm just like, I feel so bad that they didn't come to her baby's birthday party. And I'm not sure if she was invited to Marie's party, so I'm not going to mention it. Girl, that's a good idea, honey. We do not want no problems, and we do not want you getting kicked out this woman's house. So Akeisha brings up when she met with Letitia. She was like, girl, you know she was trying to get some tea. And Tambria was like, what kind? Girl, Lipton. Oh, child. So Tambria trying to figure out what kind of tea she was trying to get. And so Kiki was like, well, girl, listen. TT was asking me all kind of questions about Damon. And she was like, yeah, I know a girl that knows him. And I know somebody that knows somebody that know him. And she was like, I don't know if she was talking about the girl talking to him now. Tambria said, oh, no, I highly doubt that. Like, very seriously. I'm sure. So she's like, you know, he knows a lot of people. Girl, you saying he knows a lot of people and you laughing and hollering behind it and cackling like a little hyena. Don't do that, okay? Because Holly might start crying. So please keep your laughs to yourself. So Tambria is like, you know, her getting tea from Akeisha, I don't know about that. And I don't know what that's about. But you know people be crushing on your man and you don't even know about it. Girl, moving forward. It was definitely messy of Letitia to ask Akeisha some questions. And you don't even really just know her like that. Like, I just feel like that was messy. So the baby started getting sleepy and Akeisha's like, well, girl, I'm glad you came by. And she was like, no, I had to bring you a gift, girl. I had to. So she was like, yeah, because I was side-eyeing you hoes because I was trying to figure out why y'all didn't come. I went to that brunch and I didn't want to go to that. Okay, y'all, side note. This scene right here is so loud that I got a mini headache while watching. I kid you not. Tambria talks so loudly. Like, I would be crying too if I was that baby. I could barely focus on the show. I was like, okay, whatever they don't get in this part of the review, honey, I don't know what to tell you because Tambria is yelling. Oh, child. In the next scene, it's the day of Marie's rebirth party. And Letitia shows up first, then Tambria. So Tambria said, you know, in her confessional, even though I have this information, I am not going to bring it up because we are here to celebrate Marie. So Gucci walks in and she was like, black and gold? Who chooses black and gold for a rebirth party? And what is these pictures? This picture looking like it was done by a 5th grader. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. That pic was giving arts and crafts 3rd period. I ain't gonna lie. I said, what is this, honey? But the rest of it was all right, I guess, child. So Gucci always got a critique, honey. Ain't thrown nothing yet. Child, then Marie shows up in a matching sequin jumpsuit to match Essie. This is a mess. What a music for the party at. Let me tell you something. I gotta have some elevator music or something. Give it some ambiance. Give it some zhuzh, honey. Give it something. So they sit down and she brought her mom with her and her mom is speaking on how proud she is of Marie and how people like her really need those methadone clinics because, you know, drugs really have a hold on her. So those clinics are going to really help people that are in her same situation. So Marie is just basically telling the table how sometimes you have to forgive even if people aren't sorry. So while she's saying that, Latrice is on her way in. Child, these two so fake. She comes walking in. Hey, beautiful. Marie twirling her in a circle. I said, what is happening? What is going on? But I mean, I guess it's the rebirth of it all, child. So let them twirl each other around. She's like, hey, beautiful. I bet all Letitia's thinking is, now she can come to the brunches, honey, because you know she want she want to have them brunches so bad, honey. That's all she thinking about. But Latrice did look cute, girl. Okay, girl, you look cute. And she was like, yeah, I had to bring backup. So y'all know she brought Mel the Stallion. So they come in, they sit down. So then Marie starts speaking her speech, and in walks Cedric. What is happening in this episode? What is going on? This reminds me of that episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta where there are a bunch of surprises happening when they were in Jamaica. First, Sheree showed up with Bob Whitfield, and then all of a sudden Nene popped on the scene, and Phaedra was like, I'm looking for Apollo to jump out. That is what this was giving me. Anywho, Cedric shows up, child. I'm just realizing though, y'all, that Marie done kind of threw a brunch on the slick. Is this an empowerment brunch on the slick? I was like, wait a minute. It's giving brunch vibes. It's giving empowering, because she was giving a speech every 2 seconds. So that's what it was giving me. I don't know about y'all. So then when Cedric came in, Marie started telling everybody about his infidelity. She was like, you know what? Infidelity in a marriage, it can break you. And I couldn't take no more. But let me tell y'all how God works. Y'all know I'm on narcotics, okay? And I have lupus. And I was laying in the bed, and I was very down, and I was very hurting. And Cedric called me, and he told me about a therapy that I could do. And I went to that therapy, and I have not had to take any medication in a week. Cedric, you saved my life. Girl, what is happening? First of all, why are you talking about this infidelity at this rebirth party? And why y'all sitting so attentively? And Letitia, I'm speaking directly to you, honey. Don't let Marie in this red sequin make you think you need to get back over there with Glenn in his velour tracksuit from 2001. I'm not playing with you. Do not think this is a pass to get back over there with Glenn. Number 2, Marie, what the hell? Not he saved your life, girl, when you could have hopped on the Googler and found. Listen, I'm just happy you're feeling better, honey. Saving your life, it's a little bit of a stretch, but if you want him to be your savior, it's fine. Moving forward. So then, Latrice gonna say in her confessional, baby, here comes Cedric the Entertainer switching in. I said, girl, not Cedric the Entertainer and him switching. Latrice, you are banned from doing confessionals. When I tell y'all I hollered so loud at that, this is the 2nd episode in a row where Latrice has had me in stitches. I said, girl, not Cedric the Entertainer. So after she got through doing the speech of it all, child, she was like, I just want to thank you. I want to say I love you. And I mean, you really did save my life. So then he breaks out in song. Happy birthday to you. I said, child, I guess he is. I guess he is Cedric the Entertainer. But I have to say this, Cedric can hold a note. And Letitia, I see you over there getting emotional. And again, this does not mean go back over there with Glenn. Baby, Essie can't stand Cedric. She's talking about it's nice that they're doing the rebirth and the co-parenting and everything, but I still think he's toxic. Baby, she do not want nobody around her friend, child. My bad. Allegedly. She do not want nobody around Marie J. Blige, honey. Because, Cedric, how dare you come in and steal the show when they matching and whatnot? So after that, child, he immediately left, talking about, I'll always be your friend, Marie. I'll see you later. Boy, get on out of here. So then Tambria was like, you know, it was brought to my attention that none of y'all went to Aikisha's baby's birthday party, and she's feeling away. So Marie was like, girl, I had a prior engagement. Here go Tisha. Talking about, yeah, my hamster died. Girl, we know you don't care for Kiki, and that's fine. So then So Gucci was like, I feel like she kind of came off corny, you know, when I met her. And so Letitia said, you can't come into this group calling people ugly. She was like, and that was brought to me. So then production asked Tambria if Aikisha had ever talked bad about the Bells. Honey, of course she has. And Tambria just sat there and smiled. Tambria messy as well. So Letitia said, well, she asked for a seat at the table and I gave her one, but you can't sit here because we don't lay down. Okay, so you can't sit at our table. So you can relay that message to her as honest as you can. Girl, why don't you relay the message yourself, honey? You just saw her on your tour of Fair Street. You could have told her that then. So she was like, yeah, Tambria said that she called us ugly. That's what she said in the confessional. And Marie was like, I just feel like she come across shady, baby, but that's just me. So after that, Letitia and Tambria go over to the side, right? And she tells Tambria that Tysha came to her office and said that her and Greedy had or have some type of emotional connection. And she's like, so what's going on, girl? Because, I mean, I can't defend you if you're not being honest with me. Like, what's happening? Ma'am, you wasn't going to defend her no way. Tasha is your so-called BFF. You just want information so you can run it back, and you ain't fooling me. So Tambria was like, well, that's funny because I feel like we're all friends and they haven't spoken in 8 months. So I'm a little bit confused by that. They had a falling out. She sent this long text message. I read it, and me being a woman, I scrolled all the way back because he let me see it, and I didn't see anything inappropriate. Ma'am, now Tambria, you too old to not know this, baby. I'm not giving two dams about sending you a paragraph long text message if I'm not in a relationship with you, if I'm not emotionally invested in you, if you have not gotten a little bit of this Hello Kitty, honey, I'm not going to send you a long paragraph drawn out text message if I'm just mad at you and you just my friend. Girl, okay. So Tambria was like, I can guarantee you that there's no emotional connection. She was like, oh, okay. So that's who Akeisha was talking about. And she was like, well, yeah, it's funny because I feel like, why hasn't Damon ever been in a group setting? She was like, we just got back together. You know what's funny to me, Letitia, is that you sitting here drilling her for information and we should be getting a DNA test. Right, sis? Oh, okay. Moving forward. So in the confessional, Letitia was like, I asked if Akeisha knew Greedy because they went to high school together and maybe she knows something. No, ma'am. You asked her because you wanted to be messy. These people are grown. This ain't high school. So her knowing him in high school has what to do with what? Nothing. Letitia is getting different this season. Now, I like Letitia, but it's giving Misery want a little bit of company, even though I know that this man right here cannot be trusted. So Tambria is telling her, I really want to get married to him. I want to have a baby. She's like, and you gonna support me? And Letitia was like, girl, I'm gonna support whatever you say to me. So in the confessional, she was like, I don't feel like Taisha will lie to me. I'm not buying nothing that Tambria is selling. Well, it's not for you to buy, child. Let's move on. In the next scene, Tambria is at her grandmother's house. It's hard for her to go there since her passing, but she ended up going by. I just cannot imagine. Y'all know how I am about my grandmother if you've been following me for a while. And I'm just dreading that day, and I don't think about it often, but just seeing her in that empty house, oh, child, it made my stomach drop. Anywho, Damon shows up and Tambria is like really emotional. And he's telling her, that her grandmother knew that she loved her because she would call him at midnight just to talk about her, even though he had to be up at 4 a.m. for work. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to let it slide since it was my grandmother because I might be mad if it was any other woman. And Charlotte probably was Taisha, honey. And he put her name in the phone as Tambria's grandmother. Oh, child, y'all know I ain't got no sense, honey. Oh, honey, check all of your man's phones, honey, and see if the grandma number is under there. He was like, well, we really need to talk about what we're going to do about this baby. So she was like, well, after hearing what my dad had to say about us potentially being married, I feel like we need to put the IUI on hold. And he was like, man, I knew that was coming. Sir, you don't want to have no baby with her, no way. Because if you did, you would have already been proposed. Okay, so I don't want to hear nothing that you got to say. And yes, ma'am, let's get to the bottom of Taisha Gate before we do the IUIs of it all. So then she brings up what Letitia said about Taisha, about them having an emotional connection. She's like, I just feel silly even bringing it up. So in the confessional, the producer asked, so what's going on with you and Taisha? He gonna say, you laughing about it? Oh, you laughing? Next question. Wait a minute. Why are you so defensive? Sir, what is happening here? Guilty, honey, guilty as charged. Next case on the docket. And that was the end of the episode. Damon, you're guilty. Okay, the way that you reacted to the producer, skinning and grinning, shows that you're guilty. The way that you could not look her in the eyes when she was asking you that question, guilty. You're just guilty. All the way back and forth, honey. That long text message, that's all I needed to hear was that she sent him a long text message and it was guilty for me. But y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. Child, tell me what you thought about Marie J. Blige and these big old hoops and this sequins. Child, it was just a fool. It was just a fool. Cedric came in dressed in his Sunday's best, honey, gave us a little rendition of Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday to You. And honey, he was out. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.